5 years ago, I was assigned to a project, and that project made me feel the most miserable person in the world. This is Chris. Welcome back to my project management sandbox. Here we talk about managing projects, the best practices about delivering results, and career in technology. Welcome! Don't forget to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and let's get started. In this episode, I would like to talk about the project management imposter syndrome, how this mechanism works, and which is not less important, how to get rid of this feeling and be more efficient with your results. This imposter syndrome in many cases are preventing us from getting best results that we can. So by the end of the episode, I'm going to share 7 tips on how to get rid of the imposter syndrome and to feel better at work. So getting back to the example that I have started to provide you from the start of this video, I have started my career in 2015 in the e-com industry. My projects were like creating e-commerce stores or customizing existing stores, and that placed me in a kind of a safe situation where I knew what to expect in general from the new project that's coming into my portfolio. But what I'm referring to in my specific case, like after 2 years in the e-commerce industry, I have shifted the gears and joined another team that were creating projects from scratch. And one of my first projects that I have been assigned to was a 3D visualization. That was a desktop application, and with this app we were emulating the movements of vessels near the berths, from commerce to the 3D emulation. And the key thing was those vessels, berths, ports, and whatever is related. One of my biggest concerns were that I was not aware about those terms even in my native language. Without saying I was in the situation, new project, new team, new technologies, absolutely new experience and new words. Guys, I needed to learn new words, how everything is being named. So that blowed up a huge imposter syndrome, and I was thinking, gosh, what am I doing here? How can I contribute to the project success when I literally do not understand a thing? And actually similar stories I hear from my teammates, from my mentees, oh my god, this is the new project, I have never been dealing with this niche or with these technologies, or oh my god, my team is so senior, how come I would be able to help them delivering the results if I'm not that senior as they are? Yada yada yada. I'm not going to dive into any type of the psychology, I'm not a psychologist, but I do have experience with imposter syndrome. I have been in multiple situations that triggered my imposter syndrome, and let's discuss what are those cases when we as project managers potentially could feel this annoying feeling and how to finally get rid of it and to start delivering better results. And to get started, this imposter syndrome is basically fear of failure. When we feel that we are not good enough for some specific activity, this means that we are not scared to take over it, we are scared of the result. So we are scared about, oh gosh, I do not have enough knowledge, I'm gonna fail. No, thanks, I'm not gonna do this. And the fear of failure is the biggest trigger that prevents us from achieving the next level of our professional life, from achieving the next stage of our career, from learning something new. So what are those scenarios that potentially can trigger this imposter syndrome or this fear of failure for a project manager? Again, number 1 in my list, also related to the example that I have provided from the start. So this is the failure of new experience, meaning if we have never been in similar situation before. This means that most likely we may not know how to properly act in similar scenarios, and this is kind of a new learning curve. And chances are that we are going to fail because we do not know how to behave, right? Number 2 is the fear of responsibility, meaning we are going to be responsible for the delivery of this project. If this project fails, we are going to fail as well as project managers, and that's gonna impact our career, our professional picture within the company, and our authority within the team. Responsibility might be scary. Number 3, when this has been happening to me, is when I was comparing myself with other PMs within the company, especially if there are more senior PMs that are also on board.
Oh, this one is certified. That's really cool. Oh, that one has been leading this super cool project. He's so much experienced. Oh, this one is so much efficient in collaboration. I can't communicate this way as well.
Comparing yourself with others can impact your self-esteem. Number 5 is when someone is comparing you to others, or your stakeholders are estimating your impact and your value in a project as a project manager. This means that you are not receiving this recognition of the work result. Your work is not valued, and this also can impact our self-esteem as well. Number 6 is when we are comparing ourselves with the industry standards in general. This means that there are best practices, best scenarios, superstar cases. This is something that could also impact our self-esteem, and this might also come from the requirements for some specific roles that we are looking at. For example, there is a dream team or a dream role, and you start to look through the requirements and you realize that you are covering only 50% or 70% of the requirements, and this also could be a reason why our self-estimate is being decreased a little bit more. Now, all of those set cases were passed through. I'm currently really willing to share with you how to use those scenarios in your benefit and how to get rid of this imposter syndrome and how to increase your self-esteem in general as a professional and as a project manager. And I have 7 tips for you here. Number 1 is to acknowledge that you cannot know everything. In one of my episodes, I was saying that a professional is someone who has managed to make all the possible mistakes in the very narrow field. That's true, so the more mistakes you are making in your career, the more experienced you are and more confident you are going to become moving forward. But another side, of this pie, I would say that it's really important to understand that there are no people in the world, there are no professionals in the world that even in their narrow niche know absolutely everything inside and out. Meaning there are new tendencies, new technologies, new frameworks are coming out, new best practices are being born on a regular basis because people are sharing knowledge, people are trying something new, and this means to maintain your level of professionalism, you need to continuously and constantly learn something new. But how can you learn something new if you know everything? That's okay not to know everything even within your professional niche, and just accept it and allow yourself not to know everything from A to Z. Tip number 2, get used to ask questions. Back in times when I was a little bit more junior, let's say, one of the fears that I had is about asking questions because,
oh my god, I'm gonna ask a question from the senior guy and he will understand that I do not know this topic.
Not only this, he or she will think that, oh, she's not professional at all. She didn't know this tiny stuff, or she didn't know this topic. How could she be a project manager? Get used to ask questions and allow yourself asking questions because, again, nobody knows everything, and the ability to ask questions actually shows your seniority level. What I mean here is that if you're senior enough, you can understand what are your weaknesses and growth areas, and you're taking action in order to close this gap. And to close this gap, you're asking questions. and you're asking others to share their knowledge so that you will become more sufficient, more robust in your expertise, and more senior. And actually reflecting on this tip, do you remember that I have mentioned this imposter syndrome is the fear of failure, but actually why do we scared of failing? I guess because we will think of what others are gonna think of us and that others are going to judge us. You need to be more self-sufficient as a professional and to find an opportunity to grow using those gaps and those growth areas that you currently have. And don't forget to share your expertise and knowledge with others. And again, do not be scared of asking questions. Number 3 in my list is an understanding of the responsibility and how it is shared across the team. So what I'm talking about is that none of the projects are delivered by a single person. There is a common myth that a project manager is solely accountable for the whole work result of the whole team, for the whole project, and all the deliverables should be the responsibility of a project manager. Again, this is a myth because none of the project managers are able to deliver the whole projects themselves, right? And that is why we are engaging other subject matter experts, other professionals that can bring their skills, bring their expertise, and help us delivering results. So you're not writing the codes yourself, right? And you're not executing tests or writing test automations. You're potentially not writing specs or you're not drawing designs, okay? And at the same time, none of the teammates are preparing reports, project plans, baselines, calculating budget, establishing communication, updating on the status, keeping the track of action, because this is your piece of work and this is your piece of pie. Imagine the team and their impact on a project like a pie chart. And in this case, everybody should have their own piece there because everybody is putting their effort and impact on delivering results. And this means that everybody in the team is sharing the responsibility. And this feeling that you're not alone, you're not like a fence between the customers and the team, you're not like a single person who is accountable for everything, but there's also a team who is backupping you and who is also sharing the responsibility with you, could help you feel more confident and could decrease this feeling of being scared of a failure because you're not alone. Tip number 4 is to ask for feedback. The reason behind this is to get the independent perspective. When we're judging ourselves, we might be super focused on one specific question, on one specific topic, and not understanding the rest of the areas we are making impact on. This is a dangerous path. We are not able to be objective and to actually understand what's going on, how things are going, and what's our actual level of performance. Be able to ask for the feedback. Asking for the feedback is the same art as giving feedback, and make sure to check this episode. Ask for the feedback, find out opinions of your stakeholders, of your teammates, on your performance, of your strengths, of your weaknesses, and use it moving forward for your professional growth. Once you have the feedback on hand, make sure to not only analyze it, but also to reflect yourself on defining what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. How can you highlight your strengths and focus on them while presenting yourself, while delivering the results, and how to keep a focus on weaknesses in order to convert it into the self-development plan. Number 6 is actually to take the action and to build your career growth plan, your self-development plan, with the action items on how actually are you going to close those gaps of weaknesses and how are you going to convert them moving forward into your strengths. That's really important, and that's really important to keep the track of actions here. It's not done only once in a while. You need to continuously and consistently work on your self-development, and this is one of the ways on how would you be able to get rid of this imposter syndrome, because again, you're going to grow professionally, you're going to earn your experience, you're going to consume new knowledge, and this is going to close the gap of unawareness. And once you are aware about how to act in different scenarios and in different situations, the fear is going to vanish and you will be more confident in delivering results. And number 7, that's my favorite one. Do not forget to record, recognize, and celebrate your achievements. We should not focus only on the growth areas and to find an options how to expand our expertise, but it's really important to find out how have we managed to succeed and how are we able to utilize this success moving forward. So being able to give yourself some kind words, being able to recognize that you have managed to get things done, being able to celebrate your success would also give you more confidence in being a professional. Guys, I hope that was helpful. Please share in comments. Have you ever experienced imposter syndrome and how have you been dealing with this? I would love to learn about this, and don't forget to give me a like. See you then. Cheers.